Well, who are you? What do you do? Where are you from? Tell me about yourself.
Well, I'm Nick, Maki.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too.
For the first time.
For the first time,
Just
yeah.
kidding.
Most definitely the first time. No, I was born and raised in, I guess, partially raised in Minnesota.
Okay. It's kind of cold up there, huh?
Yeah,
A little bit.
it's not even really necessarily the cold, it's the humidity.
Okay.
It's like wet cold.
Is that from the Great Lakes?
Well, yeah, I mean, the state is basically a island in a sense. There's more water than there is land, it seems like.
Okay.
Like everywhere you go, there's a lake.
Okay.
And then the Mississippi's running through there. But yeah, no, so I moved here in 2009. So I was a freshman in high school. And then, yeah, finished out high school here and then ventured off. Was gonna play hockey.
You were going to play hockey. Did you play as a kid or no?
Played till I was 20.
Okay.
And then
So you played post-high school or were you in high school until you were 20?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
No, I was in high school until I was 20. Super senior. Real smart guy. Probably could have been in high school till I was 20 if it weren't for my wife.
She bailed you out.
No. So yeah, I was playing hockey and the old man basically was like, "You're not going to the NHL, kid."
He just didn't think you didn't think you were good enough.
He's
You know,
like-
sometimes dads just have to give you a dose of reality. It's like,
Yeah, because I was doing like junior hockey stuff, and it's an expensive sport. I started when I was 4, so
yep.
he was kind of like, "I'm done paying."
So you must be okay if you play from age 4 to 20. You must be decent, right? You must be okay.
I can get down the ice.
Yeah. I would hope you can at least skate.
Yeah, I can do that. No, so then he was just like, you're not gonna make it to the NHL. It's probably time to hang it up. He's like,
Hang up the skates.
that was a hard decision because he wasn't like saying no, like I'm not gonna keep paying. Because I mean, you might be going and playing college and whatnot, but to get there.
Were you playing in college? Did you play like your freshman year or something?
No, I didn't play any college hockey.
How did you play when you were 19 and 20 after high school?
Junior hockey.
Which is I don't know anything about hockey.
Okay, so like think of like like JUCO baseball.
Okay.
But it's not college. It's so you can play. You start playing junior hockey when you're 15.
But it's a competitive league. You pay for it?
Depending on how good you are, there's different like levels and stuff.
Yeah.
The leagues that I was trying to play in and stuff, no. But it's just it was one of those things where I wasn't a skill guy. I was.
You're the fighter.
Yeah. I was. But yeah, my dad was like, it's not a living. Like you got to think about it. And obviously, my wife and I were like been dating for a few years at the time, and he's like, if you're gonna make this serious with this girl, like, how are you gonna spend the rest of your life?
Yeah.
Just getting punched in the face.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that sounds pretty sweet, actually.
Were you traveling a lot for that?
Yeah, so I was doing a ton of like different, you call them tryouts in a sense, I guess that's the best way to put it. I was doing those, and that was like the transition period from high school to then, and playing that, and so there was quite a bit of traveling involved, like going to Wisconsin and stuff like that, and some other states. But it was just one of those things where I was like, yeah, you're right, I'm not going to go to the NHL. Maybe, like, you never know.
Yeah.
Maybe I could have. That wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
And so I was working construction, and then got the bright idea. I was like, you know what? Marine Corps. I'll go do that kind of fight instead. And I always loved that stuff, like growing up and everything, but
Yeah.
Hockey was my thing. As a kid, you always want to play sports. You want to be a professional athlete.
It's interesting, just before you go on to the Marines and construction and stuff, the sports, just in general, it's interesting because people devote so much time, so much money, so much effort, so much energy into childhood sports. Mm-hmm. And the vast majority of the time, it doesn't actually pay at least financial dividends. Now, I think it builds character, discipline, all that stuff, but it's kind of amazing how much money parents will spend on their kids to play baseball or whatever it is. And it's like, your kid's not going to play in the MLB. Yeah. It's just not going to happen. And whatever, like any sport or water polo or what, like it's shocking to me when I watch Olympic sports. I'm like, you invest your entire life into pole vaulting. The number one pole vaulter in the world might have some sort of sponsorship deal. They make decent money, but it's like if you're not in the top 5 for pole vaulting,
probably not gonna go anywhere.
It's crazy that people will invest that much into something that isn't gonna pay dividends in the future. No. But like with hockey, I mean, there's a league. There's kind of like a paid,
and
there's a way to do it. You know,
and there's stepping stone leagues where you make like okay money, but you got to be good.
Yeah,
you got to be good.
Yeah, really good.
You can't just be some guy that gets hit in the face.
Right. Okay, so then your dad brings you down to earth, get your head out of the clouds a little bit, maybe. Yeah. Which I don't know. I'm torn. Just as a parent myself, like I want to empower my kids and tell them you can do whatever you put your mind to, that kind of thing. But at the same time, you don't want them to, chase fairy tales. So it's hard to find that balance. Like
I think that's where it's at.
Yeah.
I will be forever grateful for him doing that.
Really? Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like that was probably the best thing that could have happened at that time.
Yeah. So was he the one that suggested you go into the military? Did you come to that idea on your own? Did you have a recruiter talk you into it?
No, that was completely on me. I actually didn't even tell anybody that I was going to the recruiting office. I just went. It was just like one day I was like, yeah, that's what I need to do. That's what I'm supposed to do. And I just went.
Yeah.
And then
what do you feel like pulled you in? What was the allure to you?
Purpose.
Okay.
I've always wanted the purpose, and I guess like playing sports makes you feel like you have purpose. Like playing sports for so long makes you feel like you have purpose, and then even in high school and stuff, always loved the country and the fact of being able to serve and give myself purpose and devote myself back to the country. I've been very fortunate to be able to do the things I was doing. Why not be one of the people?
Were your parents very patriotic and that kind of thing growing up?
Yeah, always were. Like obviously my dad wasn't in the military or anything like that, but yeah, always were. Like for as long as I can remember. Yeah. Yeah. So, like I said, I always loved it, loved the idea of it, but that wasn't like first of mind. It was I'm gonna play hockey. Yeah. That was always the thing.
So you were sold before you walked into the recruiting office. You went in thinking, okay, if they accept me, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, there wasn't really. It's probably one of his easiest recruitings. I just kind of like walked in, was like, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. And he's like, oh, okay.
So then, do they do a physical like that day? Do you sign paperwork that day? How does that work?
No. So just like sat down, talked with them, go through things, different jobs, and they give you these little cards that have like your values and what you value and stuff like that, and they match them up and make sure that you're a right fit and whatnot. I think I might have done like a pre-ASVAB, if I remember correctly.
Pre-ASVAB?
Yeah, like what is your ASVAB. So it's like your knowledge test to get into the military. I can't even remember exactly what ASVAB stands for. Yeah, I think I might have done like a mock test of that because you got to go down to Denver to the MEP Center and take that. Basically, you get a score, make sure that you're not like completely
an idiot.
Yeah, you're not that dumb. Pretty dumb, but you're not that dumb. Dumb enough to be coming here,
right?
But you're not too dumb to be here.
That's funny.
Yeah, I think I might have done that first day and stuff. And he's like, "Well, what do you want to do?" I was like, "I want to go see combat. I want to go fight the good fight. I want to go make bad guys feel pain."
Yeah.
And that was maybe just the side of me still from hockey and stuff, where I was just like, yeah.
This would have been,
Kill
I'm guessing,
everything.
like 2013?
2014.
14, yeah.
Yep. So I left there and went home, and actually my wife, girlfriend at the time, was at my parents' house, and I walked in the house. I was like, I gotta tell everybody something. They're like, what? I'm like, I'm going to the Marine Corps. And they're all just like, huh? I'm like, yeah.
So they literally had no idea. Oh my god. Yeah.
So like, what are you talking about? I was like,
That's wild.
I was just at the recruiting office. I'm gonna go to the Marine Corps. They're like, oh, okay. And obviously, like, Angela, my wife, was a little, what? You're gonna
So
leave?
that was the same day you went to the recruiting office, though?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're like, you're gonna leave? I'm like, yeah, I guess I'm gonna go do that. Like, just boot camp. You know, we talked about it for a while and stuff, and then came to the conclusion that I was only gonna do reservist stuff, like, you know, talk me out of going full active. There might have been a little mess up because I ended up signing an active contract.
Yeah. How long were you in the reserves for?
I wasn't.
Okay.
I never did reserves. Never did reserves. I just went straight active.
Well, so much for conversation.
Yeah, I just went straight.
Communication's overrated.
Yeah. So I just went straight active. I originally went for a recon contract, and ended up not doing the recon contract because it was like 6 months. There was like this like time frame that I had to wait to go to boot camp, and I didn't want to do that. And talking with my recruiter and everything, because wanted to go into the infantry side of things, which is your O3s. He was an O3, and he's like, dude, you go do this, go be, you know, pick up an MLS in the infantry side of things, and then, you know, if you want to, you can go recon or whatever. I was like, okay, cool, whatever.
What is 03?
So that's like your MLS code. So like I was an O331, which is a machine gunner.
Okay.
It was like O311s, 51s, 41s, 52s. I guess 51s.
I'll just say for anyone that's listening, they don't understand anything that you're talking.
Anything,
And I don't really understand what you're talking about either.
It's basically like your MOS. It's like your code. So like the Army, you've heard probably of like 11 Bravos, like 11 Bang Bangs is what they call them. That's like your basic infantry guy in the Army. But it's just like your MOS code, like your job title, I guess, your job code.
Okay. That makes sense.
So yeah, O3 world is like, that's a big thing for us Marine Corps guys. Is like O3s are the boots on the ground. It's the guys that go and have fun.
Yep.
Get to go play. So yeah, I took an O3 open package and went to boot camp, which was, to me, I thought it was fun and easy. I had a blast.
Yeah.
Like, other kids were dying, and I thought it was hilarious.
Well, it sounds like you might have been in decent shape already, just from hockey and like, you're an athlete, whatever.
Yeah. So I had a lot of fun. I thought it was hilarious. Like people getting yelled at and dirt kicked on them, and I thought it was hilarious. And they'd like do it to me, and I'd be like laughing. They're like, "Stop laughing!" And they'd, like, try to make me feel more pain, and I'm like, "It's not gonna work."
Okay, so you signed paperwork.
Yep.
You're now enlisted in the military.
Yep.
And you said it was 6 months from that day to you actually showing up for boot camp?
Yeah. So that was like originally what it was gonna be if I would have done like the recon stuff and then talked out of it. And there actually ended up being an incident that had happened in between that time with a neighbor of mine. Crazy old guy pulled a gun on me.
Well, why? What happened?
Me and my buddy were shooting trap at my parents' house.
Okay.
And he...
The cabin? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and he just like...
A lot of property.
Came walking up and put a revolver in my face.
Hold on, he walked onto your property.
Yeah. Yep.
What?
He put a revolver in my face and told me that we were shooting his house. And I was like, first of all, like, house is really far away. And these are shotguns. They don't go that far. And we're not even shooting in that direction. But he's just a crazy old guy. Like, there's been a lot of problems with that guy.
Well, that's dangerous, dude. Like, from his perspective, for you to walk on someone else's property and pull a gun on them, knowing that they're armed,
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? That's stupid.
I
Like,
mean, you think about it, I was probably smart. He's like, high school kids, they're not going to do anything to me. I'm an old guy, sort of thing.
but if you would have felt legitimate fear or like he was threatening you, like you would have been justified to shoot him. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Absolutely.
Someone pulls a gun on you like that?
Yeah.
Wow.
And so that happened, and then he like obviously went to jail. My mom.
So y'all called the cops.
Well, I told my mom, I was like, yeah, neighbor just pulled a gun on me. She's like, what? And like freaked out. I was like, yeah, that's fine. He went away. So she called the cops. She called the cops and everything. Yeah, and then I had to like meet the cops, do statements, everything. He got arrested. That whole thing. Well, then he ended up hiring like a private investigator to follow me, and we didn't find out about this until like a month or so after it had happened.
While the guy was in jail, he had someone.
So he got bailed out, but yeah, then he got bailed out, and then he hired a private investigator to follow me around. So I had a private investigator follow me around.
Is that just an intimidation thing, or what?
I have no idea. It's super pointless. But he then went to the recruiting office because they saw me go there, and like went and was like, "Yeah, this guy, he's gonna be facing legal problems. I'm suing him." And so then I get a call from the recruiter, and he's like, "What the hell did you do?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
I was like, "There's no legal nothing going on here."
Yeah.
And so that ended up putting a whole pause on
of
my me going to boot camp until it was like over with. Which there was never any court. There was never anything like that. Like nothing ever came of it.
Yeah.
But it put a whole pause on everything.
The accusation was enough.
Yeah. Yeah, because you can't, if there is going to be any legal stuff, they can't send you to boot camp. So, yeah, that kind of put a little bit of a pause on
So how big was the delay? What was the gap between you signing papers and actually showing up for boot camp?
That would have been, it was like almost a year. Or actually it was a year. Because I ended up working for a while. Yeah, it was about a year. So, yeah, put a little delay in some things.
Yeah. Okay, so you show up to boot camp. First day, what is that like?
Really wasn't that bad. Like, show up, tell you where you're going and stuff. It was like super chill because it's like they're still processing you and getting all the guys like ready to go to wherever. It wasn't until like, because we got there, it was late at night, so like you slept, got up in the morning, they ran you through some stuff, and that's when it got long. Like the whole processing thing, like you're up for like 2 days, or whatever it is, like 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
You're just awake doing all this dumb paperwork stuff, and you're like in like the...
Like zero sleep? You didn't sleep at all for the first 2 or 3 days?
Yeah. Like there's like no sleep. Like you get like every once in a while like...
Is that intentional? Do you think they do that on purpose?
Yeah. They want you to be as tired as possible. They want you to do stupid stuff.
Yeah.
So they can yell at you. That's the whole point of it.
Golly.
Yeah, but like I kind of just was not like just numb to it. Like I went into it knowing that it was going to be a game. Like they're just going to play games. Like the idea of it is to break you down, because they want to break you down so they can build you back up into a Marine. That's the whole idea of it. That's why there's boot camp and all that stuff. So
and it's 1 week initially, or what's okay?
No, it's 13 weeks.
Oh, okay. A lot longer.
Yeah. But the idea is to break you down and then build you back up to be a Marine. So yeah, that first week is like, it's more just like in-doc stuff. Like they're getting you your gear, they're, you know, a lot of legal paperwork stuff, your packets. And then you get to your platoon.
Are you actually reading what you're signing, or
no.
Is it one of those things?
No,
I agree to all terms and conditions.
Yeah, pretty much. I have no idea what I just. Yeah, pretty much.
Property.
And it's actually funny because at the end of boot camp, they like have you go through all the stuff that you sign to make sure that you're okay with signing what you sign. Like as far as like pay and stuff like that, your wages, what's being held, because things go to certain areas and whatnot. So they like kind of run through it again. There's a way of like, hey, we know that your head was spinning 1,000 miles an hour when you first did this. You want to run through this again and make sure it's all correct.
Yep.
Yeah. And so you do that. But like boot camp as a whole was like super, just like I more just wanted to get it over with because it became boring to me. Where I was just kind of like, I get it, like,
Yeah.
you guys are gonna yell and scream, run around, act crazy, and
Right.
make us do stupid stuff. I get
Just
it.
a
Like,
barrier for you to do what you
like
wanted to do.
I just want to get to the fleet. I want to go do my job. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm over this. This is dumb. But it's still, there is still like that sense of accomplishment doing it, knowing that you did get through it and you did do it and like kind of earn that title as Marine. Like that is something that means a lot. That like carries a lot of weight.
And then, so I've only talked to one other person about this. It was actually on the podcast. But they said that there's one of the days during boot camp, I don't know when it is in the process, but you basically walk down this hallway and there's doctors and nurses just injecting you with whatever, like God knows what. So is that legit?
That's pretty accurate. Yeah, I mean that's pretty accurate. I would say yeah, that's pretty legit. It's not as bad as it sounds.
Okay.
It is kind of like that. You kind of do feel like cattle moving through some chutes.
Yeah.
Like just getting twink twink twink. But yeah, they read off, give them your name, they look at it, and then stick
Yeah.
it, and then
you don't have a choice, right? Once you sign the paperwork, it's like, well, you consented to this technically. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And do you know what they're giving you, or do you not know what they're giving you?
They tell you, but
Okay.
I didn't really care.
Yeah.
It's just like whatever. I guess this is part of what you have to do to become a Marine. You got to go get a bazillion shots.
Yeah.
Including one of those being the peanut butter shot, which I'm sure a lot of people have heard about, even if they weren't
Yeah.
in the military, know anyone. But yeah,
The peanut butter shot in the butt,
In
and
the
it's
butt.
is it just penicillin?
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
It just hurts so bad.
Okay.
Because it's literally like peanut butter going into your butt. It's thick.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't feel good.
But so they're giving you penicillin prophylactically, like before you need it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, dude, that's the military as a whole. There were so many shots that I got. There was times where I got like double dosed on like whatever. Like they call you down, like even in the fleet, like oh, you got to go down. It's called BAS. But you got to go down there and get shots. It's like okay, so you go down there and like what do I need to get? And I'm like oh, you need to get a flu shot. You need to get this and this. It's like okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
They hit you and then they'll like look at one of the other corners and be like, oh crap. Was I supposed to give him the flu shot or you?
Oh no.
He's like, I wasn't. They're like, I just did. He's like, well, I just did. Like,
Oh my
so I just got it twice? Like,
Oopsie.
they're like, I guess. And then they just say to him, like, am I going to die?
Have a good day. See ya.
Yeah, my one buddy got anthrax twice. And he got his anthrax shot like back to back. Oh, that was pretty bad. He got pretty sick from that one.
Dang.
But yeah, it's super control on the vaccine. On the medical side of
Yeah,
things.
super tight.
Yeah,
locked
they've
down.
got it locked down. for
Well-oiled
sure.
machine. Yeah. Okay, so you were in active duty for how long?
4 years.
Okay, and where did you go?
I was stationed at Camp Pendleton, California.
In California.
Yeah.
But there's no wars in California, so are you in?
No,
So where did you actually get deployed?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, so I deployed in October of 2016. I was part of the 11th MEU. Originally just planned to be a booze cruise. So they call them the good old MEUs, the booze cruises. Yeah, so we left October of 2016. Was on ship for about a couple weeks, and then got dropped off, and we ended up in Sri Lanka. We did training exercise with the Sri Lankan Marine Corps. They just had come out of a civil war, so we were the first ones to like really be there and train with those guys, and that was interesting. That's where I found my hatred for monkeys. I hate monkeys. Those things are terrifying, even the little tiny ones. Yeah, I'll mess
Are
with
they
them.
just stealing your stuff? And
Oh
they're
yeah,
loud,
they're
or
mean
what?
and they yell at you and they.
Okay.
Oh yeah, they ain't fun. But yeah, we hung out.
Do you hear them at night?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're loud.
Yeah.
They're loud. They're not fun. I was like, man, I do not like monkeys. These things suck. You're just laying out there like you're in the jungle and you're like, man, one of these things is gonna mess me. I'm gonna get carried off by it. I don't know what call it.
You're not allowed to shoot them though, huh?
No, you're not. I can't fight off a monkey. They got teeth that are like this big. Like,
jeez.
Yeah, so we hung out with those guys. We did a bunch of training exercises with them. Taught them a bunch of stuff. Ran through different like drills as far as like IED lanes, stuff like that. Did some like mock night ops with them, and then we did some of our own trainings, just like kind of jungle training, because it is a jungle, so there is a big canopy and everything like that. Went on a moto run with those guys, motivational run. Found out those dudes can run. They're little though too, so they don't carry as much weight as like American guys do. Little dudes, they'll go forever.
So how long is a moto run?
It all depends on
who loses motivation first.
I wish it was like that, because we'd all lose motivation purposely.
Or maybe it's until the last person loses motivation.
Yeah. No, that one was like 5 miles, I think, is what we did on that one.
Yeah.
So it's not crazy long enough where it's almost harder running with like a huge group of people, because like half the time you're like shuffling, you can never like catch like a rhythm.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we were there for, what was it, like 4 or 5 days, I think, is what we hung out there for. Got back on ship, and then we were on ship for just a couple days, and we were in Singapore. We went to Singapore as like a libo, like kind of, hey, go have fun for a few days. So we did that. That's an interesting place. It's not, I don't think it's what everybody makes it out to be. Everybody says it's like gorgeous and beautiful there. I didn't think it was that gorgeous and beautiful. I thought it was going to be gross.
But sounds like you're suffering the whole time.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, Singapore, it's just like it's definitely Americanized. Like,
yeah, you're talking like city, like big cities.
Big city,
okay.
Yeah. We may or may not have ventured off to places we weren't supposed to go, because we were like, there's no different than like being in a big city back home.
Yeah.
Like, I want to see what this place is like. Like, let's go see where they got like just like random animals hanging from like in movies, like, because it's an Asian country.
Yeah.
Like, I want to see that.
Yeah, like the food markets is.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Or there's like just like Asian people yelling. I have no idea what they're saying. I don't know what anything means. That's where I want to go. So we might have ventured off, forgot to get off the train. So I got to see some of that. It was kind of cool. We went to like the time that we did that, we went to like this one restaurant or whatever. Didn't know, obviously, because everything's in Chinese, so we didn't know what to order. Didn't know how to order.
Yeah.
So
did you accidentally eat a dog?
No,
Tell us the truth. No,
I don't think I did. Anyways, maybe, I don't know. But we just got like a ton of food, and we're just like, just bring out like one of everything. Basically, we're just eating just random stuff.
Heck yeah.
That was cool. I mean, so we left there, and then back on ship for about a week or two, and ended up in Africa, Djibouti, Africa. That place sucks. I never want to go back there again.
Just hot? Mosquitoes?
Hot.
What?
It's just hot and gross, and it just wasn't a good time for us. They like forgot to bring us food at one point, because we were doing like all these training exercises and
forgot to bring you food. So like, how long did you go? What do you mean? Like they just ran out of food?
So like we were supposed to get a supply drop of MREs and stuff, and they forgot to do that.
Oopsie.
So basically we went like, I don't know, it was like a week where we were basically just like rationing everything that we had.
No way.
Just like, this
oh
is
my gosh.
stupid. But we were training with the French Foreign Legion out there. They, in a sense, own Djibouti, Africa. They don't, but they do. They do some crazy stuff there.
Where are you getting water from in Africa? Are you filtering it yourself?
No, they're dropping water bottles to us.
Okay, just like big cases of water bottles.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. So that's.
And they actually drop it out of a plane? Is that what you're saying?
Some of them, I can't remember if we got airdrops or not. I think most of it, because so there's things called LCACs, and they're like these like big blow up boats in a sense.
Yeah.
And we came off the back of the ship on those, like on our trucks. They hold our trucks and everything and all of our gear, and then they go up on the land, and then we drive the trucks off and everything like that. So that's like, we were getting stuff from the ship, so a lot of times those are going back and then resupplying at the beach, and then from the beach they're bringing it to us inland and everything like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we were there, did some training exercises with the French Foreign Legion. That was fun. Got to do some cool stuff. Got to do a lot of like air support, call for fire, that kind of stuff, which is super cool. Like having birds come in and drop bombs and stuff like that. It's just fun to watch.
Yeah.
Super fun to watch. So we got to do some of that, and then back on ship. And it was like a day or two after we got on ship, called everyone to the berthing. We need to pass some word. Like, it's probably something stupid, because it always is. And that's when we found out that we were going to Syria. Obviously, that was right after Trump got elected. So yeah.
Meaning, so that's like legit, like not training anymore. You're
Not
seeing
training. This is the real deal. So yeah, yeah, we got word. Hey, you guys are going to be the first ones going into Syria.
Wow.
You gotta go eradicate ISIS. And I was like, that ain't gonna happen. We're too retarded to do that.
So how long were you there for?
So we got
in Syria.
We got there January of 17 and left in May. End of May.
And that was
7
it.
months.
They were done with it. So when I hear Trump campaigning, he'll say we eradicated ISIS. They said it was going to take years and years, and I did it in a few months. Is that real?
Yeah.
So the job was done in 4 months.
In 5 months or whatever it was. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
It was 3-6. Another unit came in after us, and then 3-7 after them. But yeah, after we left, it was pretty much handled.
And you said that was 2016?
2017.
2017?
Yeah, left for deployment end of 2016, and then came back at the end of May 2017.
Yeah. And then you can speak as much or as little as you want to about this, but what was that 4 months like? What were you seeing? Did you ever have any close calls? What was that experience like?
It's what you see like on social media, just more graphic, I guess. I will say that we were extremely fortunate that everyone came home. Yeah, within 24 hours of being there, I think we took our first rounds. So when we got there super late at night, flew in at night, got there, got briefed, woke up in the morning, got all of our stuff ready, and we pushed out. I guess it was about 24 hours, because then we pushed out got all of our stuff ready that day, and then pushed out the following night, because we landed at like 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. So yeah, I guess it was technically day 2, was when we did our first push. It's about a 3.5 hour convoy, and I'll backtrack a little bit. I was part of CAT, which is Combined Anti-Armor Team, which is heavy guns, so heavy machine guns, and anti-tank men, which are missiles. So we pushed out in our trucks down to a spot just outside of Raqqa, which was ISIS's stronghold. Obviously no one's driven these roads. We're the first ones to go check everything out. So we got down to where we were supposed to be. Dog handlers, bomb guys, they all jump out, sweep the area. We get set up, and I think it was like within 15 minutes of us getting to where we were setting up at, we took our first mortars. And it was like 25 rounds, I think, is what we took, like within 15 minutes.
Yeah. Were you encountering
Small arms
hostile targets at this point, or
no? Because that was all just like mortars and rockets. So it's just kind of like sit there and you're like, hopefully it stops.
Yeah.
And hopefully I don't get hit.
Right. So you're not actually seeing where these are landing.
Well, we're watching where they're landing. I mean, they're landing right next to the trucks and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, they're close. Watching where they're landing.
But I mean, your projectiles, you're not able to see where they're actually hitting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're just kind of like, oh, well, that was cool. They obviously know where we're setting up, and the idea is where we were setting up at. We were gonna build a fob for us to run joint operations out of. But in order for that to happen, we gotta secure the area, then move in engineers so that they can start building the fob. Terrible planning because it was on top of a hill, and it was an old airstrip. I'm sure everyone around the area knows about an old airstrip on top of a hill. So they're probably gonna be like, yeah, the Americans are sitting up there on top of the hill. Shoot at them all day.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did that, and I was like, dang, all right, well, we're here, boys. That was cool.
Yeah. Seriously.
Took rounds right away. So yeah, that was like first 24, 36 hours was that. And then from then on, it just kind of became like a normal thing. It was like clockwork. Like, basically
Do you ever settle into a routine?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
I didn't know if every day is just like so chaotic and different and
No, you definitely
craziness or what?
Definitely kind of settle into a routine. Like, my section, we were doing all like route reconnaissance, all the convoys. We were moving, so we had an RV battery out there that we were using. So we were moving them around. We were pulling all their security, and then we were doing some other stuff as well. So just my section alone was very, very active. There wasn't a lot of us that originally went. There was like 80 Marines when we first went, and my section was really doing most of the work.
80 total in the whole country?
Yeah, that we went. Yeah, it
Wow.
wasn't a lot.
Wow.
Yeah, that was like kind of like, I think it was 80.
How many ISIS members?
Oh, I don't know, a lot.
At least thousands, I would think.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay.
But I mean, you gotta think, like, there's soft guys that are out there. There's like berets and those guys. There's a bunch of contractors that we were working with.
Yeah.
That were out there and stuff. So like, there's a lot, and we got birds.
Yeah. That helps.
Yeah, that does help. But we're working directly and helping the YPG or SDF, so Syrian Democratic Forces. That we're helping them, we're aiding in them to fight ISIS. That's the idea of it. We're aiding. We're not actually fighting them.
Okay. Yeah,
so
you gotta keep that.
Yeah.
Distance.
We're aiding. But yeah, you do kind of get into a routine, like, when you're not doing convoys or patrolling or whatever, like, yeah, you have a pretty good routine depending on if we're down at the FOB or we're up north at the KLZ where we flew into. Yeah, you kind of have a routine, what time you got watches and stuff like that, when you gotta stay in security, and then you're just kind of chilling.
Yep.
Waiting to do something else. But yeah, it was kind of clockwork. We knew every morning that we were gonna have to get up and stand. Everyone's on watch first thing in the morning, because that's when the ISIS guys like to shoot at us, and then everybody gets up, and then if you're not on watch, you just fall back asleep. And then at about like 10:30, 11 o'clock, take a bunch of rockets and mortars, and then that'll stop.
Are you sleeping in the same spot every night during this whole time? Or are you moving around? Okay. So I would think if I was part of ISIS, I would figure out where you guys are sleeping, and I would just keep shooting that direction,
You'd think, right? Yeah, they're really smart, but they're really dumb. But we're also really good at what we do. When we first were setting up the FOB, the engineers had like dug in these huge holes that our trucks sat in. Mm-hmm. And I could actually have some pictures of it. It's pretty sweet. But our trucks literally like drive down into it, and all that sticks out is the turret.
Okay.
So we basically were sleeping in those holes for the first like 2 months. Like
Okay, so you're pretty fairly concealed though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you don't get out of that hole. Nice shot.
Yeah.
Maybe you can go ahead get out of the hole.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like getting shot, so.
Yeah. It doesn't sound like a good time.
Wasn't really part of the plan.
So when I hear that you were a machine gunner, the picture that comes to my mind, I would think for most people, is like you're sitting on top of a truck. So is that what you were mostly doing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So actually, now my best friends, some of my best friends, they're both higher than I was, Sergeant Ryder and Sergeant Shevlin. So Shevlin and I are like boys now. That's like my best friend.
Yeah.
So I got kicked to the driver's seat for 90% of it. Cause they're like, I ain't driving.
No one wanted to drive?
I was like, I'm driving. I don't have a choice. I don't have a say in this. You guys.
Guess so.
You guys are my seniors, so it looks like I'm driving. See, I got the luxury of driving a lot.
Well, I don't know if you heard the news, but according to Kamala Harris, there's actually no active military boots on the ground right now in any country. So that's good news. Did you hear that?
That's BS.
Did you hear? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I was watching it when she said it.
Oh my gosh.
She's an idiot.
Yeah, that was just such a wild thing to say because any
not the case.
Right.
Not the case.
That's just the most obvious. Yeah, it almost makes you wonder either she's just straight up lying, which in and of itself is bad. Just to completely lie about not having any active military on the ground right now, that's just crazy. But also, the only other alternative is that she's ignorant to the fact that we do have...
I think it's both.
Well, I mean, she's definitely ignorant in some areas and
but I think
a liar in others.
She probably tells herself frequently that there isn't. Even though she knows there is.
Yeah.
Because there definitely is.
Right.
Most definitely is. Oh my god.
Wow. And then so you had, I mean, you got to give me something. Was there something exciting, something crazy that happened? Like
I've got plenty of.
I know you're not supposed to ask if you actually shot anyone, so I'm not going to ask you that question. But yeah.
Yeah, man. There was a lot of exciting times. There was. I'll tell you a funny one. I'll tell you a serious one.
All right.
Funny one. This is me. I was being an idiot. You know, I said you never come out of the hole.
Okay.
I went out of the hole.
Uh-oh. Rule number 1. Come on, dude.
There was some sandbags that were blown away, and I was tired of sitting in the damn hole. I was like, I'm gonna go grab the sandbags. So I'm like walking over there. Well, at that time, there's a compound like 1,500 meters away, and these ISIS guys start attacking it, like attacking the YPG guys that are in there. And it happens all the time. Like we just sit and watch it happen all the time. I'm like, oh, yeah, look at those guys. They're getting thwacked again. Surprise, surprise. Happens all the time. I'm like picking up the sandbags and I hear, ka, 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 ka. I was like, oh, that's a Dishka, which is their version of a 50 cal machine gun. And I was like, dang, he's getting it. And all of a sudden, and just like snap, 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 and dust flies up. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
That was close.
For
so
real.
I just like pick up the sandbags and start walking back. Cut, 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 cut. More dust is flying up on the hill behind me.
But they didn't see you. This is just...
Oh no, I was out in the open.
Okay, so
but I didn't know if he was shooting right at me or if he was just like missing that bad.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. But
Golly.
I just kind of like giggled for some reason and thought it was funny. Like obviously it was far enough away where it's not gonna do anything to you. It's not. But it was enough where I was like, dang, like that's coming this way.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes it real.
And I just kind of giggled and laughed and may or may not have kind of flipped them 2 birds and was like, you missed me. Nice try.
Yeah.
And I went and sat back down in the hole and like sit down and Bobby looks at me and he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I have no idea. I don't know. And I'm just dying laughing. He's like, you are so stupid. You can like hear people on the radio, who the hell was over there? Who was walking out there? And I was just like, oh, that was me. I'm an idiot. So I always thought that was just like super funny. Just like you know, that's like months of, after a couple months of being there, you just become accustomed
Right.
to those situations. Like,
There's only two ways to react in that situation. You can break down and start crying. You know,
Yeah.
There's a decent chance you could have just died or got seriously injured, or you can just laugh about it and be like, well, this is my life right now.
yeah, and that's kind of like where we were all at that point, where it's just like, when stuff like that happens, as long as no one gets hit, like, it's funny.
Yeah.
Because you're like, dude, you missed. Nice try. Try again later. Let's see if you can succeed.
Yeah.
So that was comical. I think the most serious, worst one is there was a moment where we were there at the fob that was being built, and I was on watch, and it was like probably midnight or so, and scanning my sectors of fire, and you know, I always try to overlap my sectors with the next guy who's over from me, make sure that I'm catching up anything that he could be missing. And I look up and I see on this aqueduct that's 1,000 or so out, a few individuals, and trying to get pos ID through my thermals. You know, I can tell that they're carrying things, but I can't really tell what it is they're carrying, what they have. So I report it in, I call it in, and some time goes by, and then I notice two individuals start walking towards us. And at this time, like, all we have up is sea wire. And they start moving closer. I call it in, stand by. I call it in again.
Are you talking hundreds of yards or how?
Yeah,
Okay.
like, I just keep moving.
So fairly close,
Come
yeah.
Closer and closer, you know, when I call it in, like I called in like every 150 or so is what I was calling in, and I just kept getting standby, standby, standby. I request to go into ROEs, which is rules of engagement. I get told to stand by the first time, and then I start like getting serious because they're walking right towards one of our trucks. I can tell that.
And you knew at this point that this was enemy or not friend?
We didn't know anything. I could tell that one individual was an adult and the other one was younger, and they were carrying stuff. Something that those kind of people over there, the bad guys, do is they like to use women and children to blow us up.
Yeah.
You know, suicide bombers, everyone's heard of them, that kind of stuff. So immediately that's, you know, where we're going to, is that the people up there are sending them down here to blow up one of our trucks. They cause mass confusion, then they ambush us. That's always a threat, that's always something that can happen. So we go into ROEs, shoot flares, they keep coming. I then...
Is the flare a warning?
Yeah.
Okay.
I then give them a warning with a 50 cal machine gun. And thank God I didn't shoot them.
Did they take the hint?
No, they didn't. So we continued to try to give them a hint. We ended up apprehending them, and it was a mother and her daughter.
Wow.
That were trying to get away from ISIS. So yeah, that was like the first time where I was like, oh, I don't know how I would have handled that one.
Wow.
But it's still like, I didn't like that one at all.
Yeah,
That was,
seriously.
like, that was a bad one. And there was, you know, there's a lot of things that you see over there that are like that. And I think that's the hardest thing about anything over there, is seeing the innocent people, the people that are just trying to survive and what they have to do. Like, you see like packs of kids running around and stuff like that, that their families have all been killed, and they just like rely on each other to survive.
Yeah. And what do you do? So maybe in this particular case, what do you do once they've been apprehended? You find out, okay, these guys aren't a threat. Do you just have to turn them back and just,
Yeah,
well,
so
good luck?
So we turn them over to the SDF, which is the Syrian Democratic Forces, like I said, YPG. We turn them over to them and take them to a safe area where they can get help and whatever. But yeah, no, I mean,
There's only so much you can do, because if you served everyone, well, then you would just become basically a charity or something.
exactly. And I mean, there's only so much you can do, and I think that's like the hardest part is like, you know, you go through these villages and we go on these convoys and these patrols and stuff, and you see these kids are missing limbs or whatever. I mean, just they don't have anybody but other kids, and they're at the mercy of whoever.
Yeah.
That is probably like the hardest thing, or seeing little kids that weren't fortunate, who got caught in the middle of something that they aren't even a part of.
Yep.
That is by far like the worst part of it. That's something that I want to say everyone should see, so it gives them some gratitude for the life that they have here, but at the same time, not everyone should have to see that.
Well, we got a few minutes left here, so I did want to ask. So, you get out of the military. You served for how long?
4 years.
4 years.
Yep.
And then you own a business now. Is that correct?
I
Did you start that business as soon as you got out?
I did. Yeah. So.
And what is that? Just tell me how that started and came about.
About 6 months or so. So I always said this before I joined, because I was doing construction before. No matter how long I'm in the Marine Corps for, when I get out, I'm gonna start my own construction company.
Yeah.
So about 6 months or so before I started kind of putting stuff together. Obviously, I didn't know where to start, didn't know what to do. I just started brainstorming. And I always was kind of brainstorming. I always thought about how I was going to do that, but I really actually started putting like kind of pen to paper sort of thing. Got out and just started jamming away on it right away, trying to figure out everything I needed to do.
Were you by yourself at first? Did you have any employees?
No employees, completely by myself. Yeah, I just started jamming away at it.
How did you get your first contract?
How did I get that first one? I don't even remember how I got my
Was it
first
enough to like carry you over and be like, okay, I can do this. I can make money.
Honestly, I don't even think that went through my head. I think it was just like, this is what I have to do in order to get to make money. I just have to keep doing this. So yeah, I got out in November, end of November of 2018. And then officially, my company officially began in February of 2019. And then by July of 19, I was 100% into the company because I was working a full-time job up until that point.
Meaning you started making enough money from your business where you could quit and start doing that full time.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
you're still by yourself at that point?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I didn't bring on really any employees for the first year and a half.
Okay.
Or so, probably a year and a half. I didn't bring on anyone. It was just me, kind of going through it. Every once in a while, I'd like ask a buddy for help, or hey, I need help doing this, or child labor, my younger brothers.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Is this mostly residential construction, commercial? What are you doing?
At the time, it was all residential. Started off doing like new roads for people in the mountains, stuff like that, culverts. Moved into residential, doing basements and subdivisions and stuff like that. And then from there, got into commercial, just doing small commercial stuff. Got into a little bit bigger commercial, and now we're doing really big commercial.
Yeah.
And heavy civil. So yeah.
How many employees do you have now?
We are at, let me think here, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 10.
Okay.
I have 10. There's been 16.
And these are full-time guys?
Yeah.
And then you also, I'm sure, have contractors that you have on speed dial or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, we don't really use too many contractors per se. Like, we use like trucking companies and stuff like that, but we're all self-performed. So
okay.
Yeah, everything that we do. And like
so how big of a project can you handle with 10 people?
$2 million.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, we're growing. We just actually just made a huge shift in the company. Something I've been thinking about for a while, but was super hesitant on, and finally just was like, we just got to do it and see what happens. It's turning. I think it's starting to look pretty good. And
what was the shift? What was the change?
So we were doing all excavation on these projects. So we were doing your grading and your utilities, so all your mass earthwork and everything like that. And we basically just take it and we're just doing utilities now and all the infrastructure. So we're basically now we're running big lines of infrastructure, miles of pipe for like storm, sanitary, and water, and doing that and making that our main focus, which is allowing.
Are you working with county or local governments a lot, or is it mostly private?
Sometimes.
Okay.
It's both. It's probably more on the private side than the public side. But no, we're doing these like big developments and stuff like that. Like we just we're about to start one down in Brighton that's like 20 acres.
Apartment buildings or something?
No, it's actually a Love's truck stop that's owns the property. They're building a truck stop, and I don't know what their plan is to do with the rest of the property. A lot of those bigger companies do that. They'll buy a big chunk of property, they put their store on it, and then everything gets built around. They build everything around it.
Yeah.
Which is, it makes sense. It's a cash cow. Absolute cash cow. So yeah, but started the company, and it has been easy. Being a business owner is definitely a challenge, but I love it. It's awesome. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Yep. We're doing something right, is what it sounds like. 5 years in.
I guess.
And then, okay, so 2 questions, and then we'll wrap up here. So first, is there anything when you were starting your company or even along the process that you wish you would have done differently? And also, after that, what would you say to people who are thinking about, they want to start their own business, but it just seems like too big of a deal to them? What would you say to those people?
That's a good question. It really is. I think things that I would have done differently, one, I would have asked for more help. You don't realize how many people are willing to actually help you. And kind of swallow a little bit of that pride and be a little bit more humble.
Yeah.
I think I definitely would have done that, because I definitely took kind of that edge where I was like, no, it's all me. It's all me. And maybe ask for a little bit more help.
Yep.
Learn that now. I'm always asking for help now.
Don't ask me, buddy. I got a goldfish to feed here.
No, I think that, and then it's so hard because there's been so many lessons that have been learned. Like, dude, I could go on for hours about all the lessons that I've learned.
Well, I just hear so many people say, like, whatever, you have a beer or two, and someone's like, dude, yeah, I have this great business idea, we're gonna make millions of dollars, and I'm like, okay, do it. Like, you're telling me about it, but if you're not gonna do anything about it, this is a waste of my time.
Yep.
What would you say to those people? They have an idea, maybe they don't feel like they have enough money, or maybe they do have enough money, they're afraid to just jump and take the risk or whatever. Like, those people that are considering it, they're sick of the 9 to 5. Like, what do you have a word of encouragement, maybe, or advice or anything like that?
I totally get what you're saying, and I've had people say that same exact thing. If you're gonna do it, you have to do it. Don't worry about the time. Don't worry about any of that, because no matter what, it's gonna be a lot of work and a lot of time.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna do it, you just have to do it. Like, I get people all the time like, oh, my income and my full-time job, and then I have this and I have that. I was like, you make your time. If you want to do it, just go and do it. If you want to spend time with your family, make the time to spend with your family.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what. I know that when I first started, I was delivering propane for AmeriGas, and I was doing this, and I'd get up extra early to do my route, and then I'd go do a job so that I could then go to the gym at some point, and then go and at least be able to have dinner and put my kids to bed. And then I'd go back and I'd do all my computer work, and then I'd do it all over the next day.
Wow.
But I was still finding time to make sure that I was spending the time with my kids and my wife, and then take care of my personal self as well.
Yeah.
And that's the only way you're going to do it. If you start off with excuses on why you can't do it, you're not going to do it.
As a business owner, how many hours a week do you work? More than 40?
Yeah.
Do you see a time soon where you'll have more freedom with your schedule? Or do you want to keep doing it? I don't know,
I think I
60
do,
hours a
yeah.
week or whatever.
I do see that, but I don't think I'm going to stop.
You don't want to take your foot off the gas pedal just yet. Yeah.
I'm not going to stop. It's not the only thing I want to do.
Yeah.
I got other stuff I'm trying to do. So
For sure.
the second that I get freedom from this one, all that freedom's going to get put into another one.
Yep.
And then it'll get put into another one. I don't know. It's addicting.
Yep.
And I know that, I do it so that my family and my kids can have at least the life that I had, if not
Yep.
better. So.
Love it.
That's the
Love
only,
it.
That's the only way to do it.
I wanted to say one more thing, and then we'll close out here. But you were talking about, doing the full-time job and still being able to find time to do the things that you got to do and take care of your family and stuff. I hear a lot of people say the phrase, "Oh, I have to go to work. Oh, now I got to go to work now." It's like you actually don't have to go to work, and yes, you should, but
Probably.
But you have the power of exit. You can leave whenever you want. And by the way, that person is not the dictator of your life. You can, if you decide one day you don't want to work there anymore, it's kind of crappy to do this, but you could just not show up to work.
Yeah.
And
I've had guys do it to me.
not a good habit to get into. But I don't like adopting that philosophy that, oh, I have to go to work now.
No.
It's like, if you're going to work somewhere, you may as well enjoy it. Even if it's not the thing ideally that you want to be doing, you may as well enjoy it. Otherwise, you're just living your life in a miserable place. Like, why would you choose to voluntarily subject yourself to something that you hate and that you dread? Oh, I've gotta go to work now. It's like, don't even take that mentality or that attitude, because you don't have to be there. You can find something different. You could start your own business and work towards leaving or whatever. But anyway, it frustrates me when people just complain about their jobs all day long. I'm like, dude, either quit or fix your attitude. Like, you're not helping anyone or yourself, by the way, by just whining about it.
Absolutely. I think so many people do that, and it's not even just with work, it's with life. They complain about things.
Yep.
And people don't realize that no one can make you do anything, and no one has control over what you do. It is 1,000% up to you. Granted, it's really scary when somebody doesn't tell you what to do.
Yeah.
Which nobody understands. They're like, nobody tells me what to do. And it's like, then why are you doing what you do? Because somebody told you to show up to work at this time.
Yep.
Somebody told you to go here. Somebody told you to do this. It's scary when you take on life by yourself and you're the one who makes, that is terrifying. But if you want the freedom, you have to go and get it yourself. It's there.
Yep.
It's 1,000% there. It's up to you. It's your decision to take that step. And it's uncomfortable.
Yep.
But it's not comfortable. And you're going to fail. Period.
Yep.
Love the failure. Strive from failure. I do. I think it's hilarious. Like, I had to find something that was good about it. And I'm like, whoa, I look dumb there.
Getting shot at's hilarious. Failing is hilarious. It's all funny. No,
It is. It is. I mean, if you look at everything in a negative aspect, like, where are you ever going to go? Nowhere.
Yep.
But if you find the positive in that, at least you got something to come out of it with. And it's like, okay, that sucked, but I'm not doing that again. Like, learn from it. Move on.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's probably a good place to end it. Just for people listening, if for some reason they wanted to contact you about your business or they wanted to hire you for something, what's the name of your business? Do you have a website or social media you can shout out?
So Grizzly Contracting LLC. Our office is in Loveland. You can go to our website. It's www.grizzlycontractingnoco.com.
GrizzlyContractingNoco.com. Sweet.
Yeah. You can also shoot me an email. It's super easy. It's nick@grizzlynoco.com.
There you go.
Super easy. But yeah, if you go on the website, everything is there. You can go to our Instagram too. We've got some cool videos and stuff like that you can watch, but it's got all of our information on there. It's just Grizzly Contracting.
Sweet.
But yeah, we if anybody needs some excavation work, we're definitely willing to do it.
Heck yeah.
For sure.
Well, dude, I appreciate your time.
Yeah.
We'll have to do it again sometime.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, sir.